So the next ingredient we're going to add, if we look at the recipe, is the oil. So we need 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil. So in order for children to be able to do that independently, I've transferred some of the oil from the jug into something more manageable so the child can measure. And because children often will overpour, I like to have a little bowl that can be used underneath the measuring spoon so we don't have to worry if we overpour. So we'll carry that over. We're going to count. This is a tablespoon of oil number 1. And then we get to do another one. Remember, if we check the recipe, we need 4. Tablespoon of oil number 2. 3. And one more. 4. Perfect. Again, with the child, we're going to say, okay, let's check the recipe. We've done this job, and that job, and this job, and that job. We have another job to do. The recipe says we need to add 2 cups of boiling water. So, children can measure their own in a measuring cup, or you can have it pre-measured. Boiling it is something that has to happen, of course, with adult supervision, and adding it to the bowl has to happen with adult supervision. So our Play-Doh is going to be white. We're not going to add any color. We're going to pour the water in for the child, and we'll do the initial stirring so that the boiling water doesn't splash. So we'll give that a stir, and as soon as you feel like the water is no longer at the top and there's any danger of splashing, then the child can join in. And you can offer a wooden spoon to the child to choose, pick a size, and help stir. When you're working with children, it's a good idea before you even start to let the children explore all of the things that are involved in making the Play-Doh. So if they want to play with the measuring cups and stack them, turn them upside down, that's okay to do that first. If they want to open up the bag of flour and touch it, you could put some in a bowl and let them explore that first. If they want to taste the salt, that's okay, let's do that first. Because until children are ready to do something instructional with materials, they have to have an opportunity to explore them and to answer their own questions about them. So when this Play-Doh is being stirred, you can talk about what's happening, the changes in the Play-Doh. If the ingredients don't look like they did before you started to stir. You want to take those opportunities with children to let them do as much of the activity as they can on their own, and to not make it a teaching experience, but an experiential time together. So once the Play-Doh is stirred, we can knead it. And you want to make sure that the temperature of the Play-Doh is safe for little hands, so you can feel that yourself. If it needs to be cooled, you can go ahead and just wait for a moment. And then you're going to turn it out onto the table. There you go. And the Play-Doh is ready. Children often really like this activity. Remember, if children aren't comfortable with getting their hands dirty, that's okay. That they can do as much of the pouring and the measuring and the touching as they're comfortable with, knowing that the experience has to feel comfortable to them. If they don't want to do part of it, you can just offer to do it for them. When the Play-Doh is fully kneaded, it's soft and supple and ready to use. If you wanted to color your Play-Doh, you could add some food coloring. There's liquid and there's also solid food coloring when you're adding the water before you start to stir it. And when you're done using the Play-Doh, you have to store it in an airtight container of some sort because it'll dry out and become hard to use. So we can choose to use a container, like that, or just a bag. A bag will work as well. We're going to continue to make videos this week on some of the really interesting things you can do with Play-Doh. So once you've made it or bought it, then you can join us in our next video to see what we do with it.